Hi, everyone. Welcome to All About the Joy. Hey, Rick, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Is everything okay?
Yep. Just
Let
rushing.
me drink from my coffee cup.
Yeah, I think I might too.
Look at, he's got the really cool one, though. Yours says, it really is all about the joy. My design. Thank you. I can't believe you bought that. Thank you so much.
I like
God, you're really going to keep all about the, every time you do the show, you're going to put the cushion up there?
Why not?
I love you for that.
I love this for us.
People bought stuff. Now I know Cynthia.
Oh,
Wait,
cool.
Cynthia, did you just buy one thing or did you buy a lot of stuff? Because somebody bought, really, we got quite a few orders. So people bought some stuff. Yay. Hey, Melanie, how are you? Hey. I'm shook. I'm a little bit shook by it. Yeah. Nice t-shirt. Yeah. Now we all have uniforms we must wear. Yeah.
I was like, one more time.
I'd wear this again.
I was like, one more time at least. One more time.
Yeah. I don't know if we need to wear it every week. I like the cushion and like cup or something, We can always let people know where they can get swag at allaboutthejoy.com, which you can see at the bottom ticker because I still don't know how to turn that off. Isn't the mug he has cool? Yeah, it really is all about the joy. It's a good mug. That one's a good one. Yeah, it's really cool. You know what, Melanie? I think because you're a regular person that comes on this show, I think I'd like to buy you that mug. I'm going to buy Melanie a mug. I will do that for you. Yeah, she's the MVP. I'm going to do that for you, girl. So I will direct message you and we'll hook that up.
I'm surprised for being the first commenter.
But she's always on. She's a loyal fan, and I appreciate her, and I think that's the least we can do. You know what I mean? So speaking of swag, again, allaboutthejoy.com. You can go check that out. You'll see the store there. I want to show our friend who did the candle. You're going to be proud of me, Rick. I actually have this all set up. So I'm going to show Thor. Remember the candle I was talking about last week?
Mm-hmm.
I think I sent you and Cynthia both so you would know what it smells like. He did a whole presentation on it. So I'd like to share that with everyone. So this is Thor Bradley. Mm-hmm. What is the name of I think he says it. So let's just listen to him for a second. Here it goes.
The candle is all the way back. Now, right now you can get it on a discount in the TikTok shop, but more importantly is the question I forgot to answer last time. And that is, what does it smell like? It smells like a guy who puts his grocery cart away. It smells like someone who takes their boots off at the door. It smells like asking for directions. It smells like knowing how to use the phrase, I don't know. It smells like taking an ice bath and not posting about it on social media. And if you really want to, you can spray it all over your sheets now. I cannot get out of here without an innuendo. Even if I fucking try.
Come on. He's funny. Could you guys hear it okay?
Yeah.
I did the intro. I did a TikTok video. I'm impressed with myself.
Yeah. You did it.
These are the things that matter to me. What up, Cynthia? How was your week so far?
Let's see. It was a short week, even though it felt long.
That's why we had Monday off.
Right, yeah. It's so weird how short weeks feel longer.
Mm-hmm.
But it was an interesting week. A lot of gossiping going around in the office.
Oh, you gotta love that though, right?
Yes and
Is
no.
that water cooler or bad stuff?
It's a little bit of both, but it was interesting. And it's just, yeah.
So inter-office gossip or outside of office? Oh,
inter-office stuff, yeah.
Why is Carmen shook?
I'm gasping because, excuse me for one moment. Oh my God. Okay, all my notes that I wrote in my thing disappeared. I don't know why.
Oh no.
I was so proud of myself. So I did all my notes today. If you could just give me one moment, I'm just going to go look at the email.
I'm sure they're there.
No, they have this new thing where you can have your notes.
Right.
And I think I told you guys about it last week, and I put all my notes in there, and now they're gone because I think I was going in and out. I was trying to do the intro to impress Rick, who didn't even see it. Whatever. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. You should be able to save it, but I guess you can't. I have no idea. A lot of gossiping going on. I hear you.
Yeah. Or just you start to realize who is petty and who isn't, and who you can trust and who you can't.
I love
I'm
petty.
the one that always observes and just tests the waters first before I say anything to anybody.
That's smart.
Yeah. How long were you at your other place?
8.5, almost 9 years.
Yeah. I still can't imagine you being part of the gossip pool.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Rick, how was your week?
We had a fire marshal come today, actually.
Oh, we love firemen, but go ahead.
I guess
was he cute? Was he hot?
You're asking me?
You could be a man who believes, just like Thor. You could be comfortable with another man being handsome.
He's all right, I guess. Anyway, so I've been anticipating this thing, and I'm like, okay, I hope we did everything we're supposed to, blah, blah, blah. And one of the things we were supposed to do was the last time he came, you have to have sprinklers over the furnaces in the basement. First of all, because this is a 3-family house, that's why they have to come. If it was only a 2, they wouldn't have to come. I'm like, but nobody even lives upstairs. So they're like, you're going to have to talk to the zoning commission, blah, 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 and see if they could change it. I'm like, I wish they would, because I ain't trying to pay all this money for no reason. This is stupid. Because it's $25 per unit, so $75. So anyway, sprinklers got put in literally yesterday. Okay.
Wow.
And now I was praying, Lord, please don't let it be more than 500. Well, you heard my prayer, because it was like 483 or something like that. I was like, why didn't I pray for 300? But anyway, so I got that done.
You have to be specific when you pray.
You really do. It's not even a joke. It's not even a joke. And of course, I made sure all the smoke. Hey, Mario.
Hey, Mario.
Yeah.
He says, hi, guys. Sorry that I've been MIA. Lots of live stuff been happening. I love you. We'll be back on soon. No problem, baby. I know how you is. I love you no matter what. We'll talk soon. Tell Alma I said hi.
Yeah.
Mwah, mwah, mwah. Go ahead, Rick.
So I had to make sure all the smoke detectors are working. So I had to go upstairs, make sure all those are working, blah, blah, blah. And so anyway, long story short, we did everything good. He only found like a 2 little teeny minor things, which is not even a big deal. And so I go, who do I make the check out to? You guys take checks? He goes, yeah, we still antiquated. We still taking checks. So I'm like, you don't take credit cards? Okay. Thank God the plumber took credit cards. Like, oh,
it's the fire marshal. They can be whatever they need to be.
Okay, sure. And so I gave him the check, and we're talking, whatever, and I'm telling him about my mom with dementia. And he goes, oh, my mom had dementia too, and I had siblings, so we all helped together, all of us. And I was like, it's just me. I got to do everything myself. And I think he felt so bad for me. He goes, you know what? Here, take this check, hold on to it. I'm going to talk to my boss and see if he can waive this for you.
Shut up.
I was like, are you serious? He goes, yeah. I said, why don't you just keep it? And then if he says, no, rip it up. He goes, no, just take it, and I'll see what I could do. I was like, dude, that would be awesome. If you could do that, that'd be really awesome.
Okay. So
God
you
heard your prayer.
That was a very specific prayer, I guess. Wow.
So yeah, I was pretty happy about that.
So you saved $500?
No, 500 was for the sprinklers. Less than
the 75.
75 was $25 per unit to inspect them.
But you know what you could spend that $75 on, right?
More merch.
Over at allaboutthejoy.com. I'm just
which is scrolling at the bottom of the screen.
Because I don't even want to. I just put my notes back up. I don't even want to try to mess with that. That's so funny. No, I'm just kidding. Rick, are you Did you just do that on purpose? You dork.
I totally did.
It's gonna be like this thing. Whenever we sell merch now, you're gonna have to do that.
Send us a video of you drinking, slurping from your cup, and the best one will win a prize.
Oh my God, that was so cool. You're quick today. Okay.
I'm happy because I saved some money.
No, that's so good. I was telling Cynthia, I was shook that people actually bought stuff last week. I'm like, wow, that's so cool. You know what I mean? Yeah. She bought stuff too, but she shouldn't have. If you're on the show, I think I can buy you something. We'll talk about it later. Whatever. Yeah. Anyways, okay, great. One of the things I wanted to talk about, going back to what Cynthia was talking about, wasn't really about gossip in my office, but one of my clients kept pressing me to talk about politics. So we have this weekly meeting, and it's me and this other person and him, and everybody was in the office. So it's not like a closed door meeting or anything. So people can hear you. It's a big warehouse production company. And anyways, we're sitting there talking. He's, Carmen, I just want to ask you some questions about these 2 And he was saying derogatory things about these two political candidates. And I was like, I don't talk to my clients about politics. And I thought that would be the end of it. He followed me back to my office. He kept asking me. And finally, I had to be abrupt about it. And I was like, I need you to respect this boundary. Like I had to raise my voice. You know what I mean? And it's not like anyone wouldn't know where I lean, right? It's not like I'm keeping it secret, but I try to keep myself very professional at work. Don't get me wrong. I'm not mean or anything, but I'm not friends with people at work. Yeah. I'm not friends with anybody at work, at any client that I work with, none of them. And several of them in the past, like one of my, I was always like, oh, just come out with us for a drink. No, I will not. Like I've played this game before. So it started me thinking about if you guys have any experiences at all with this kind of thing, and have you ever dealt with it? Are there certain things you don't talk about with people at work? Are you friends with people at work? Do you guys go out after work and hang out? I'm just curious of what that dynamic might be in your different kind of work history lives. It doesn't have to be right now, because I know circumstances are very different. Cynthia, it's new. Rick, you really do work from home, but just in your whole work life in general, it doesn't matter.
Ladies first.
Like right now, I don't have any friends at work. I've only been there for 2 months now, but my previous job, obviously with me being there for so long, you do make friends. And so there are about 4 girls that I'm really close with, and we'll go out to dinner or have drinks every once in a while and stuff like that. But I wouldn't do that with just anybody. I really don't. Like I told you, I observe people before I even let them in to my little circle. It's so funny because the other day, me and Juan, my husband, were talking, and even he said, and I thought it was very funny how he saw this, and I didn't think he did, but he's like, you are so closed off from everybody. You don't let anybody in. You always say you don't have friends. But you have some very close friends, and those you can count with one hand. But you really have, I guess, kind of trust issues. You really don't let people into your personal life. And I thought that was funny that he even saw that. Because I thought I'm open with people I'm comfortable with, but I don't know.
I think it's interesting that he said you were closed. I don't think you're closed off. I think you're protective. I think words matter. So you wouldn't just let anyone that you just met. I mean, I agree with him, but I think his word usage.
Yeah, they're probably off. Yeah.
Is wrong, because you're the last person I would think is closed off on the planet. Even though you might not be friends with somebody, if somebody needed something, you would sense it and help them. So closed off would be somebody who's not even like just paying attention, just not even, it's a block. But yeah, interesting. Okay. I'm not going to overanalyze in my therapy, Dr. Carmen therapist.
And I never, ever talk about politics at work or religion.
I've never heard you talk about politics with me or religion with me. So I don't even think it's a topic with you. Now, you know who I speak to about religion and politics all the time? Andrea. So I have certain friends that we do certain things together. And Alden, Billy, and Andrea are the people. It's politics and social issues, but really politics all the time. Those are my friends. Mia and I, we would never talk. We do talk about politics, but it's not as important in our friendship. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. Yeah. But do you care? You don't care about politics though. Do you? Really. Yeah. See, so that's why I never bring it up with you. Rick, what about you?
So I would say at my first job, McDonald's, when I was pretty young, I would do sometimes something with somebody, maybe go to the movie or hang out, blah, blah, blah. But that was it. After that job, nope. We're friends at work. Once I leave work, I don't know you no more. That's it. So, yeah. But other than that, Sammy, Sefsol.
Hey, Sammy! Hi! How are you? Wow! It's Mr. DJ, right? Sammy, hi! Oh my God.
Sammy is like our brother from another mother.
Okay.
He's so cool. And he's a DJ. Or he was a DJ. Is he still a DJ?
Yeah.
Okay, one of the
He's
funniest
doing
things
his
that
thing.
happened after the DNC thing, did you hear when I think it was late night Stephen, what's his name?
Colbert?
Stephen
Steve
Colbert,
Colbert.
one of the jokes he said, it's the first time parents were proud to say, my son is a DJ.
Oh. That's funny.
I thought it was really a funny joke. You know what I mean? But hey, Sammy, thank you for stopping by. That's so cool to see you. It's been a minute. Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. But go ahead, Rick. I'm sorry. So after McDonald's, you did not.
Yeah, I don't think I ever hung out ever after work with anybody. And like I said, at work, sure, you're my friend at work. But after work, nope, I don't know you no more. Like,
Did something
separate.
happen that you don't
Yeah,
see
I'm
anymore?
like,
No, just I leave work at work. I don't want to bring
Oh.
nothing with me home. Like, I got enough issues at home to worry about. I ain't trying to think about work after work if I don't have to.
Ooh, that's a good thing to think, because you usually only hear that about firemen or policemen or whatever, right? That they
Fireman
wanna-
again.
I know. I can't. I'm
It's
so
all about the firemen.
Here's the thing. I am now addicted to another show called Chicago.
Oh no.
I love 911 too, Cynthia. Oh, by the way, it's official. 911 Lone Star. It's its final season. It's official, I think yesterday or whatever. But now it took me a while to get into Chicago Fire, but I'm in. And it's really good. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what to say. But now, like, I see the fight. Like, I've always had respect for firemen. You hear that, you pull over, you wait, you know what I mean? Always, whatever. Always thought they were great. But now I like genuflect. So
She's
weird.
like bowing down to them
Like,
now.
oh my God, I love you. It's so wrong. But I really feel totally different about firemen now, completely, because of these shows. I didn't know what they did. I didn't know what they did. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, I knew how good looking they were. By the way, most firemen do not look like these guys. So I'm just going to say that straight up. But that's not the part I'm talking about. But the things that they do, you don't really realize it. I didn't, anyways. Yeah. Okay. I'm a little giddy about firemen, but you threw me off track. What was I saying about firemen?
You start saying firemen, policemen, and others. And
Yeah, I forgot why.
where were we going to?
Yeah.
Oh,
Whatever. Oh, just leaving your stuffage at work. Like you hear that about these professions, like doctors too. They don't want to bring some of the horrible things that they see. Or social workers say that a lot too. If they deal with a lot of painful situation, domestic violence or whatever, they try not to bring that home. I think it's really hard to do that. But as I think about how work has been for me and how stressful it's been in the past, I'm trying to be better about not bleeding into time that I set aside for myself, right? Like making sure I go out for that workout or go for that walk or go out for dinner with a friend or whatever and not have it consume me. But it's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard. But it's also like when you have to put the boundaries up with a client and say, I don't want to talk about politics with you. And he couldn't understand why. And which was interesting. I think he was trying to egg me on to have an argument. I think that's really what was going on because he thinks it's funny. And he was being like, jousting. We're not jousting, but like.
Was he conservative?
Playful. I don't think he knows what he is. I'm going to be straight up honest. It's one of these people who talk. So Cynthia knows this. And I think, Rick, you know this. I know a lot about, I follow politics a lot, which is why it's so easy for me not to talk about it. Do you know what I mean? Because I follow it, I read it, I understand it. I'm probably better versed than most people when it comes to politics. And yet I realize I know nothing. You see what I mean? Like I know a lot about politics and even yet I realize I know little. And Jay is also well-versed, Alden. So I like having these political conversations with people. So he's one of these people who thinks that he knows stuff. And he also accidentally, as a lot of people do, are misogynistic in the way in which they're talking about the vice president. You know what I mean? And I don't know, I think there's going to be kind of a time period where people have to start getting used to leaders being women or, you know what I'm saying? Even something as simple as calling her by her first name and then calling all the men by their last names, Obama and Bush, and we don't call them by their first names. So things like that. So he was trying to get me, and I finally then like I wasn't having that funnyism. But I wanted to go into something else. Is it possible that there's different, like if you have friends at work, it's a different kind of friendship than the friendships maybe you even make online versus the friendships you have in person or whatever? Is that a possibility?
It's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
People you meet online, you don't really know, like personally, you don't know their mannerisms and things like that.
I know, but I think Rick is my friend. I would say Rick is a friend. I mean, not really, but just for the show. You know what I mean? Just go with the show here. Like, we're just in topic. No, but I would say Rick is a friend, you know? So you just do Slurpee again? He's like doing Slurpee on purpose. But you see what I'm saying, right? Like, I actually consider you now a friend. We've been through enough.
Yes.
We've talked enough. You know what I mean? Like, and even though I've never met Rick in person, I think he's a friend. And yet there are people I work with, child, if they, I wouldn't even, Let me just say it. They could call me day and night. I'm not going to answer that phone until I have to be back at work at 9. Don't care. Test me on that shit.
And just because you spend a lot of time with somebody does not mean they're your friend either.
It's true.
Ooh, that's true. That's true.
Because you have no choice. You have to work with them. So,
do you think it makes it harder for you to work in the situations you've been in if you do have that boundary up or if you have friends? So the reason why I have this strong boundary now is because I made the mistake of having a friend at work, and then she ended up screwing me over. This was years ago. And she ended up backstabbing me, and I learned that lesson quick. That was like the last time. So she was saying one thing to me in my face, and then behind my back, she was trashing me and taking credit for stuff that I was doing. And this was going on for like months and months, and I didn't know until my boss at the time blew the fuck up about something I knew nothing about.
Wow.
And then even though we figured out what happened way after the fact, after I'd already left the company, okay? Like, you know what I mean? No, that's how bad it got, because I was about to be fired anyways.
Wow.
They called me and apologized to me, the client, and wanted me to come back. And I was like, oh, hell no. You listen, because here's the thing. You as the leader, as the client, as the person in charge, you allowed the gossip and the bullshittery to continue. Instead of coming up to me and asking me straight up, we could have cleaned that shit up right away. Yeah. And you are not going to have me be in charge of your crap and then turn around and do something like that to me and think I'm going to come back and do that again.
Right.
I don't trust you. And this is the problem with some of my clients. They think that it's about them needing to trust me with their millions of dollars. Honey, there is nobody on the planet who wouldn't trust me with their money. There's nobody who would not trust me with their money. Nobody. People I don't know have asked me to take care of their friggin' money because they know I don't care about money. So when I go in and meet with a client, my whole thing is like, do I trust you? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And here are the rules if I'm going to work for you. You don't know how many people I've interviewed with, talked with, whatever. And they're like, we'll just have you sign I don't sign checks. We'll just give you I do not take credit cards from my clients. No, I do not. Oh, but I'm so busy. Honey, if you don't have 10 minutes a week to sign your own checks or to work with me to look at what we're spending money on, we're not doing this.
Yeah. You need to have some kind of idea what's going on.
Yeah, but people are busy. I love that word, busy.
People are always busy.
Until somebody embezzles from them. So people always think people that embezzle from them or people who steal from them are somehow random people that it's like the boogeyman. No, it's always the person you trust the most. That's who embezzles from these rich people. It's always the person who's their right-hand person or their business manager, their CPA, who's don't worry about it. I'll sign the checks. I'll take care of everything. Cynthia, I got it. Don't worry. No. I have so many checks and balances in place, and a lot of people don't want that. They don't want, like, I can't sign. I can authorize millions of dollars. I can say I need to pay so-and-so $1 million, whatever, 900 something dollars to secure whatever we need to secure, blah, 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 blah. But it doesn't get authorized until the other person who has the same as I do says it's okay. And he can't do it either. He can initiate something, but then I have to authorize. It's a checks and balance. You know what I mean? So that way, neither one of us, by the way, there's also a third party. It's always like JP Morgan or Wells Fargo. There's another party involved, right? Who's actually doing the transaction. So if I do something weird and I'm like, no, it is for Cynthia Ruiz. Trust me. Deposit it into her account. It's going to be a red flag, even if the other person authorizes it. You know what I mean?
Makes me think of some of those sci-fi shows. And I think they even did this on Stargate once, where you have to have two different people with
the
keys, and you
keys.
both have to do it at the same time.
Yeah. Look, I don't even think it's about having a lot of money. It's just being smart about, it's not even about trust, because I know people trust me completely. For me, it's more about, I need to have a sense that nothing went wrong. And the only way you do that, because I'm human, everybody makes mistakes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the other thing you want when you're dealing with anybody else's money or anybody else's livelihood and you're making decisions for them. You want somebody else to check you. You want somebody else to be like, oh, Carmen, you know what? And that's happened a couple of times where somebody was like, Carmen, I don't think that's what you meant to do to that account. That's the wrong account. I was like, oh my God, thank you. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing to me is like, are we a team or not? Okay. Listen, I'm going to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. This is the thing that always gets like, there's people that they love to point out when I made a mistake. You did this and blah, 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 blah. Or this will really ticks me off. Bring up this. Okay. Can you see what's wrong with that? Well, obviously I would have not done it wrong if I knew what you're talking about.
Oh,
and then
wait.
we'll wait until I finally figured it out. I'm like, why didn't you just say I made a mistake?
Oh, it's
Meanwhile,
like you? Oh,
yeah.
okay. No,
Meanwhile, Rick fixes everybody's dang mistakes and never says nothing. I just fix it and go on because I got stuff to do. I ain't got time to sit there and humiliate you. Come on.
Right.
Oh,
you're not petty.
I love the one when they go up to you and they're like, oh, can you look this up? Tell me what's wrong with it. Well, I'm not the one who did it. This person did it. So you might want to ask them, not me.
Oh my God.
That's happened.
These are bad people, bad leaders.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
But were you going to say, Cynthia? I cut you off accidentally.
Oh, no, that's it.
No, I think people are confused by what it means to be a leader, right? So this is what I try to tell my clients. So this is actually the part of the job I do, but it's the hardest part of my job. I tell my clients, like, nobody learns from being humiliated. So if somebody makes a mistake, the last thing you should be doing is shoving it in their face every 5 seconds or testing them. Like, you can't test someone out of a mistake. So if I make a mistake and Charlie, hey, Charlie, that's called dry snitching. Exactly.
I love that.
Dry
snitching.
But that's kind of that thing where you have to be someone who understands that it's better to nurture people when they make a mistake, lift people up when they're having a problem and walk them through and get them to the right frame of mind to then have the conversation of how we might be able to do this a little bit differently in the future, because here's why this didn't work. That's the part of my job I love, when I do have an opportunity to take a moment and say, how do we do this better? Or how can I help you figure out how we can do this better? That's how people learn. And you know how I know this? Someone was, oh, you're so good at your job. Yeah, because I haven't forgotten what it feels like to be humiliated by people doing exactly what you guys just said, testing my ass and shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Help them to help you. Exactly, Charlie, exactly.
Someone once said to me, oh, always give them the poop sandwich.
The what?
I know it sounds gross. But you start off with good, then you give them the bad, and then you end with the good. So you say to them, you're doing a good job, but you didn't make a mistake on this. So let's fix it so that for the next time, you know how to do it.
Okay, but I don't understand the poop part. Wait. I don't get
You give them the good, you give them the shit, and then you give them the end with the good.
Oh, we could come up with a better. I don't know if that's the
I heard this years ago.
Well, I also believe in the thing, if you come to it as a person who also makes mistakes, like, so I never say, Cynthia, I want you to see the mistake you just made. Because, okay, that's one way to handle it. So now you've just humiliated. First of all, Cynthia already knows she made a mistake, right? Because we're in this meeting now in front of
Right.
5 people, right? And all you've done is exerted your pathetic power, right? Pathetic power as a leader, right? Instead, I always like to turn on. First of all, why do we need to have a meeting? We all know Cynthia made a mistake. We all know. Right? Cynthia knows. We don't need to now convene the entire office to now humiliate her even more. What is the purpose of that? And one of my clients consistently will say, I just want to make sure everybody knows that they cannot make the mistake again. I'm like, you think that's what you teach in here? You think that's...
I had a boss like that. I had
Really?
a boss like that. Any mistake any person did, they would address it to everyone and have a meeting and call that person out. It's like you could just had a meeting with that person by themselves because no one else is making that mistake. This one, so you could have a meeting
power.
with that.
That's about exerting pretend power. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's the stuff I call out my bosses on. I'm like, so did that make you feel good? Because that person's going to quit. They're never going to give 100% ever again. They now resent you. And I'm going to help them find a new job because you just humiliated them for no reason whatsoever. So unless you want to keep them, you should go in and apologize. And all my clients will be like, I'm like, okay, I'm just giving you my best advice. I'm just telling you what you just did was wrong. Charlie just said, it's to make others feel like shit to pump your own nuts up. It's evil. Yes, behavior. It's the way Charlie says things. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I love him. I love this. But yeah, that's the part of the job that I think, as much as I don't love what I do, like when I have to take my actual clients and sit them down and say, in a very kind way, that didn't work. And now we need to fix it. And here's how I think you need to fix it. But most people learn not from humiliation. I don't know anybody who works from being humiliated but I do think there's a difference, right? So if Cynthia makes a mistake and we work through that mistake and then the mistake happens again, now we're talking about carelessness, right? So that's our second time we sit down and try to have a conversation and try to come at it from a different place. Okay, Charlie is now saying assholes need to be called out. That's my job, okay? I don't really handle, I don't care about the money part. That's my job. And here's the thing. Some people can handle it and some people cannot. And then I'm like, okay, because you already paid me for the month, so I'm happy to leave. I don't care because I get paid up front. But 9 times out of 10, whenever I'm hired, people hire me to get rid of other people or to fix something. It's usually them that needs to be fixed, not anything in the company. No, it really is,
Yeah, I believe it.
Okay, so this other thing I wanted to, did you guys have anything else you wanted to say on that topic before we moved on to my next LinkedIn thing?
I just think it's annoying that you realize how you're talking to me right now is going to really piss me off. And now I'm losing focus. Now I'm not going to be as productive because I'm sitting here fuming because you just talked to me like I'm an idiot.
Yeah, but you think that they're thinking about you. They're not thinking about you at all. They're thinking only about themselves and how it makes them feel to talk down to you. Right? I mean, that's kind of the thing. Like, yes, from our point of view, we can see that what they're doing is stupid and only hurting you and it's not going to make you better or fix anything. You know what I mean? But that's not what's going on in their head. And this is what I try to explain to the team usually is from his point of view, he is taking care of 6,500 people across the country and in London, and he needs to make sure they get paid. And this just messed up the next payroll. And he's angry. His wife is divorcing him, and he hasn't gotten another TV show, whatever it is. Like, he's got all his own shit, and he's now taking it all out on us because he thinks that it's okay to be an asshole to us. It's like when you go out on a date and you know, your first date, and you realize the date turns around and treats the waiter like a piece of shit. It's the same dynamic that's happening. Is they're not thinking that people are equal or deserving of respect because they feel like they are better than that person, and that person is there to service them. So I always tell team members, you have to realize that and work around that, or find a new job. Like those really are the choices. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Rick.
I just saw. I catch you outside. How about that? But I saw a video that I'm convinced it was a skit. I'm like, okay, can we stop making skits pretending like it's real? But anyway,
Okay, but let's not talk about skits that I have not seen because they're never good. You're always talking about like babies being born. And shit.
No.
Okay,
So
what?
it was on an airplane, and this guy was behind his possibly fiance, but he had a mask on, so you couldn't tell. And he was trying to talk to her, and she was treating him like total crap. And he had a woman behind him with a sign saying, "Will you marry me?" He was going to ask her on the plane to marry her, but then she was just berating him because she didn't know it was him and just treating him like total crap. And he goes, "You know what?" Took the sign. And she's like, "Oh my God, honey, no, we're done. I had no idea you treated people this way. Nope, we're done."
Okay,
And he
I don't
left.
even know. I don't even know if I believe that's really true.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think it's a skit.
Okay, why are we wasting our time on a skit? A whole other
Because
stuff to talk about.
because I was proud of him for recognizing the crap.
Okay, but it's a skit.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. Here's the clue how you know it's a skit. First of all, too good to be true that the camera angles are perfect.
Thank you,
You know what I
Charlie.
mean? Like if there's editing involved, it's usually a skit. You know what I mean? Like, because usually good shit like that you're not going to catch, and if you do, it's like the corner of somebody's camera because they're trying to hide. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
okay, Charlie said, "Good man."
That's right.
All right, I'm gonna go on to my next subject. Do you have any more skits? I'm just back because last time he wasted our time with that other one that was also a skit.
What, the woman having the baby?
Yeah.
That wasn't a skit. The baby was right there. They popped out.
What was the other one? Oh, it's the one you sent me that was annoying.
Oh, okay. I don't
You
remember
sent me
now.
one and I was like, this is a skit. Like, don't waste my time.
Oh, I forgot what it was. But anyway, yeah, move on. What's the next
Okay.
thing?
Like, Rick's gonna jump off, be like, something's wrong with my internet. You don't slurp. It's all bullshit, Charlie said. Okay, so on LinkedIn, which is part of this whole kind of thing. First, I want to give a shout out to everybody on LinkedIn. We have more followers again, and I'm so appreciative. Everyone on LinkedIn, it's so amazing because it's hard to get people on LinkedIn, and you know what? I think we're at 622 followers.
Nice.
I know. I know it's not a lot to other people. To me, it's like everything. Anyways. So somebody had posted, we don't need to read the whole thing. I'll just tell you the gist of it. They're going in for interview. They're interviewing for a job and they've gone into a series of interviews. So let's say 3 or 4 interviews for a job. And they're not offered the job. Somebody else was offered the job. They were told, "What? Sorry, Rick, we appreciate you coming in, but you didn't get the job." Then a couple weeks goes by and clearly the first candidate decided not to take the job. And so they come back to you, Rick, and they say, "Rick, we want you. We'd love to offer you the position at the same amount we talked about before with all the benefits." So the question is, are you going to say yes to the job, knowing that you're their second choice? And more importantly, do you ask for more money? That's what that whole thing was. Look at Cynthia. I've been in this position before, so it's interesting.
Actually, one of my coworkers is in this position.
Right now?
Yeah.
Oh, what happened?
She actually works in the same department as me. So she came over before I did.
Okay.
And she's the one who actually helped me get the job. So she interviewed with them and they ended up offering her something. And I guess something happened. She ended up not getting the job.
Okay.
They were going to go with someone else. 2 months later, they contact her again, asking her if she still wanted the job.
Charlie and Melanie both, I'm just going to interrupt because Charlie said yes more and Melanie just said price goes up. So they're both,
That's right.
Interesting. Go ahead, Cynthia.
So she did end up taking the job afterwards because she really wanted to get out where she was. But I don't know whether or not she got more money. She didn't tell me, but it did happen to her.
Interesting.
That was interesting.
Rick?
I've had different things happen to me where twice somebody said I had a job and then took it back.
Oh, right. You told me this. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What?
That was a bummer. That
Yeah.
was a
No,
bummer.
just Cynthia wasn't here for that one. Maybe you want to share that story again. That
Yeah,
one.
one was a definite. Went, got interviewed, blah blah blah, filled out paperwork. You got the job starting Monday. Boom. Got a call maybe 2 hours later. And it said, "Oh, you know what? Somebody else came in and we interviewed. I mean, you already told me I had a job. Why are you interviewing somebody else? And you know what? They already know all the systems and they're familiar with this and that, so we don't really have to train them.
That's
So I'm
ghetto.
sorry, blah blah blah." And I'm like, I got all excited, told everybody, "I got a job, I got a job." And now I look like an idiot. The other one was I didn't really officially have, but they're like, "Oh yeah, it's in the bag. It's in the bag. You definitely gonna get this job." And then they're the same thing. Somebody else came along and they knew everything already, blah blah blah. And I'm like, that one ticked me off, and that's what made me leave that job. So, oh no, bye bye. Y'all treat me like crap. Mm-mm.
That's crazy.
I don't know. When it happened to me, I was the second choice. I just took the job. I didn't negotiate for more money. It didn't even dawn on me. I was just so excited to get the job. It was like part of that. You're getting a new job, so it's already a raise if you don't have a job. It's like,
Right. Plus, it's how bad do you need it because you don't want to risk it. Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
So I thought it was interesting, but all the comments, most people were saying like, yeah, they'd go back in and be like, I'm happy to reconsider this now that it's 2 months later or 2 weeks later or whatever it is. But I think now I need another $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
Sales
really?
over.
Really? I don't know if I would. Cynthia, would you do that?
I'd ask for more money.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Charlie just said, I've signed contracts and then got the call. We're going to go in a different Ooh, but a contract, can't you sue them? I don't know.
Unless, can you
gotta
put in the
read the fine
contract?
print.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you put in the contract at our discretion? We may blah 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 and dissolve this. I don't know.
And my
Right.
contract with my clients, like if we both have to give 30 days notice, but we can, it's at will, quit, whatever. They have to pay Hollywood. Charlie has this love-hate relationship with Hollywood. I love him. But like I could quit tomorrow, but like the money I got for September is done. Like I have it. It doesn't matter. I quit tomorrow. You know what I mean? But yeah, and then I have it in my contract. But I don't know. 30 days, they could just go hire somebody else. Doesn't matter. Yeah. And I get monthly payments. So I guess that's different. I'm sure Charlie's talking about a contract screen, that's a different ball game. And that really sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I've never been I'm really good at getting the job that I want or whatever when I was getting salary, but I was always horrible about getting a raise for myself. So I always advocate for, even now, I advocate for because that's the most important commodity any business owner has. It's people.
Yeah.
I don't care what your people do. And a lot of people are confused by that. They think the thing that they make is the commodity or the thing and I'm like, right, but who makes the thing? I had one client like, I used to do this all by myself. I'm like, really? Well, then you can solve all your problems. Get rid of your 150 people that you have working for you.
Yeah.
Like he really thought that was the answer. Like they should know. Oh, the other thing I hate, one of my clients always says, it's just going to take 5 minutes. Carmen, all you have to do is call it 5. Nothing takes motherfucking 5 minutes. Nothing.
Mm-hmm. That's another thing. One boss too. And he actually did this. He goes, okay, go online. Okay, now let's time it. Okay, start. Do an entry. Okay, see, that only took this much time. Now you should be able to get this by the end of the day. That doesn't account for the phone's going to ring. I got to pick it up. Emails are going to come. I got to do this. No, I'm not a robot. I'm not a machine.
Do you tell him that? I know. Okay. Charlie said we're supposed to feel good about people we live with and work with. Why else do we do it? Look, everyone knows who's listened to this show, and I know you listen to the show, Charlie. I hate what I do. All my clients know that I hate what I do. You know what I mean? Like they know, but I'm good at it, and it brings an income. You know what I mean? I'm in that weird situation and I think most people don't do what they love. I don't know, Cynthia. Do you do what you love? If it were up to you, you'd be creating cards and right? You'd be crap. I don't know. What would you be doing if you weren't doing what you're doing now? Because you have to.
There's a few different things. I mean,
stripper, escort. I totally see it. Escort.
You caught me.
I'm sorry. I told everyone your truth. I told everyone your truth. Charlie just said nothing worse than chasing cash and having a shit job, which is what I think all three of us do.
Right.
Not you, but the three of us are doing it. But go ahead, Cynthia.
I would love to travel. I like
As
party
a woman of
planning.
leisure. As a woman of leisure. I'd like to travel. But work-wise, you would travel and do what?
I don't know.
Oh, you just
Party plan, make cards. I don't know.
You would do party planning?
Oh yeah, I like party planning.
Any kind of
I didn't know
party?
you did. I'm sorry, Rick?
Any kind of party or more specific type of party?
Strippers at the party. Are firemen at the party?
Bachelorette parties?
I didn't know you did event planning.
I'm not officially. Everyone always asks me to like decorate and party plan them and stuff.
What about a wedding planner? Or is that too much?
Is that too
I would
much?
love to do that. That is a lot though. That's work.
Because don't people make good money with that?
Yeah.
Would you love to do that?
I haven't actually done a wedding, so I don't know if I would love to do that. Because I know weddings are a lot. That's a whole other ball game than just like a regular birthday party or.
My wedding would be very simple. Charlie just said, I do whatever I want, no matter what my job is. That's the only way I can function. Yeah, that's how I am too. I'm not faking my job. I just don't love what I do. If it were up to me, we all know what I'd be doing. I'd be making movies. You know what I mean? I'd be in any way, shape, or form. I'd be producing them. I'd be in them. I'd be writing them, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'd be all over it. I love this town. I love it. I'd be on stage. Actually, if I could do whatever I wanted to do, I would want to be on stage like theater. That would be my real love. Oh.
All right, Charlie. Love you too.
Bye, Charlie. Love you. Bye. He's so cute.
It's funny how, because I like to listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff, and a lot of them are actually actors. And so many of them say if you only did one thing, and almost, I would say at least 75% of them will say theater.
Do you know why? Do you want me to tell you why?
Tell us why.
I'll tell you why. Because the thing about, look at television acting and film acting is very different from theater acting. Now, one of my favorite acting coaches of all time, Howard Fine, who I think is amazing, and everyone should read his book, even if you're not an actor, because it talks about a lot of life skills. That's all I'll say on that. He would disagree with what I'm about to say. But from my perspective as a performer who danced and performed as a kid and loved being on stage, the difference is simply this. There's a live audience and it's one take. So you rehearse, you learn the material, you do the background, you understand the character, you really work with it. And then you go out and you do the show. And whatever happens, a cell phone rings, somebody screams, or whatever, a light isn't working or a sound goes, you have to go with it. You have to be on it. You know what I mean? Film acting and television acting has to do with cameras. There's lots of retakes. So the next time you're watching a movie or watching television or even a commercial, you can see the different angles that a camera has to, that you can see it on screen, all the different angles, right? Those actors have to do those scenes over and over again. And let me tell you, the reason why I will always say that I'm a performer and I have a hard time saying I'm an actor. I am an actor, but I don't like doing 1 million retakes over and over again for different cameras. So
and they're never in order, right?
Never. So the story is exactly, that's the other thing. If you're filming a movie and it's, especially if it's in one location, like in another state or something, you're going to film all the scenes that happen in that state. And they're not from beginning to end. They might happen at different times during the story. You know what I mean? So that doesn't bother me as much because you do film a scene at a time, right? So you'll film a moment of us having dinner together and having a conversation. The problem is we're going to have that conversation at least 3 times, because 3 times they're going to have to do one overall shot of all 3 of us talking. Then they're going to have to do a close-up of Cynthia. So again, then Rick, then like they have to do different camera shots, and then they edit all that together. Now it's magical when you see it all done. And I actually love being on set, but I had to come to Jesus moment. I did. I had to come to, because I had to realize for myself, I do not love this part. I don't love this part. Now, big time actors don't sit there and do the dinner scene with everybody. They have a stand-in, right? So if Brad Pitt is doing a part or whatever, or Viola Davis is at the dinner table with the three of us, she's not going to sit while they're doing my shot, your shot, Rick's shot, whatever. They'll have a stand-in. And it's a different ballgame. She can come in and do her own performance for her scene and whatever they need, but then they bring somebody else. So that's a little bit different because that's more about coming in and doing that one moment. So I know a lot of theater, a lot of actors will say that they think theater is like this higher echelon. I don't believe that's true. I actually think for me, film and television acting is so much harder. And I really revere people, first of all, who do both, but also people who are just stage actors. It's like theater is amazing. I just love it. But television
it's
film, it's hard
because you have a live audience in theater that the audience, you feed off of their energy, and that's like a whole different thing too. Because with the studio,
so television has a live audience. If you watch a lot of, not all the time, but the comedies or whatever they do, but they do retakes. And yeah, there is something about feeding off of an audience, but that can work against you too. Because if the audience is dead,
you suck. Yeah.
I mean, no, sometimes you'll do it before. It's not even if you suck. I mean, if you're coming to a certain play, I could just suck, whatever. But also sometimes the audience just, they're not going to laugh or clap or, like, I mean, one of the plays I did, I'll never forget, like it was, we had night after night after night where people were laughing at the jokes and whatever. And none of the parts I did were funny. None of the parts I played 5 different characters. Like we all had many characters, and some of them were like 2 lines here, 3 lines there, but then I had a huge monologue at the end. And my whole thing was really, my characters were all very serious in different ways, right? Because I played like a housekeeper. I played really hard people who are having a tough time in life. But the other people were getting laughs and they're so funny and they just had these great one-liners, whatever. And one night, like the audience, because you could hear it backstage because you're waiting to go on. You're like, I'm like, is anybody out there? Remember, like you'd peek through the thing to see because there'd be no, like you would hear nothing. And you're like, and that does a psychological thing.
Yeah.
And then what happened was I came out and I said something. They were like, I totally was like, because it wasn't supposed to be funny. I mean, you know what? I just got to chill because I remembered that. Like it was the weirdest thing. So but it is that love of what, because you don't know what the audience is going to do. And more importantly, your partners, like we had, I think like 10 people in this play called Nickel and Dime. And people could be in a bad mood, fighting with the husband, whatever. You know what I mean? Like you bring all that and then you got to try to turn that off. And, I remember somebody like, you forget your wig or something, or so one of the things I had to do at the end, and this happened the last performance of the entire show, the last performance. So I ended the whole show with a monologue that was pretty intense. And I had to wear it's like black, like a gum thing so that it looks like it didn't have a tooth.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
It's a black thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like gum or something. I don't know what it is. I forget what it's called, but it's a black thing. So it looks like you're missing a tooth or whatever. And that thing was all over. I don't know what that was. And it messes with you. And I remember finishing the play and we got a standing ovation. We all, whatever, it was the last play. All of our friends were there. It was great. And I remember going up to the director, Richard Kilroy, and I was like, I can't believe I fucked up. He's, what are you talking about? Like, and I was like, my tooth thing was all over. He's like, Carmen, you were fine. Don't worry. It was great. Like, but I remember being like, that's how I closed the entire play, the show. Like, but I didn't fuck it up, but you just never know what's going to happen. I love this town. I really do. I love acting. I love all of it. But yeah.
Now, touching on another thing we mentioned, slightly different, this kind of to do with the stand-in thing. So they just made another The Crow movie, which I heard.
I don't know what The Crow is.
It's a cult classic.
Yeah.
Bruce Lee's son.
Yeah.
Was in this.
Okay.
It's like based on a comic anyway, comic book. Anyway,
Okay.
so they made a new one and they said it was really bad, whatever. So I was like,
Oh, they said it was bad?
garbage. Almost everybody said it was garbage. But anyway, so I got nostalgic because I remember the first one. I remember that was really great. But then I also remember how sad it was because he got killed by
He got
accident
killed, right?
Oh,
from a
that's when he
gun.
got killed. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
during the making of the movie. But then they were saying that people got confused because they were like, but we saw him at the end of the movie. He was alive.
Oh,
But
right.
because they don't understand, as long as you're in that place, you might as well film everything that you're going to do in that place all at one shot, even if it's at middle and beginning.
Right.
That's why I think people got thrown off. But then also they were like, but there were other scenes where they used a stand-in and it was really dark. So you couldn't really see his face or had him running from behind. You couldn't see from behind. So I was like, you got to do what you got to do. But it was very interesting.
I think it's funny because I forget that people don't know how movies and television are made. You just watch it. And I don't mean that in a condescending way. It's just because we're in this town and we know exactly why it works the way. I mean, it's also just cost effective.
Mhm.
You're not going to fly to Boston and film a scene of my neighborhood where I grew up and bring the whole cast out there and then bring them, up to Vermont because that's where I went to school. So that's going to be the next part of the film we're going to do. And then, let's go back to California because but wait, now we have to do the ending of the film when she goes back to the funeral. So bring them all back to Boston. So what you do is you film every single scene you have to do while you're in Boston. You do it then.
Yeah.
And that's how you figure that whole thing out. And it's fascinating. Let me tell you the thing about, if you guys can ever go on set to a movie that's in your neighborhood, it's hard. You can't really go on set, but if you can ever play like an extra, whatever, I would encourage everyone to do it. It's a great experience because it gives you a different appreciation of film. It's such a collaborative art form. And the irony is you'll even start to appreciate when movies suck because you'll realize, oh, okay. Not a lot of connection with the crew. Not a lot, you know what I mean? Like you can start, I'm not saying all that's true, but you can start to understand that it's not just one person. You can try to blame one person, but it's not how it works.
Right.
Although the director will always take responsibility if they're a good director. But yeah,
that's funny because people watch movies and in your mind, you're watching it and you're like, this happened and that happened and that happened. But that's not necessarily how they filmed it at all.
They take all the pieces from wherever they need to take it. And then the editor, who is the most, I think, important person in the film. Sorry, directors. But I mean, directors have a big part. I mean, there's no doubt directors watch over the editors too. So I don't want to diss directors. But I'm just saying a really great editor or a really bad editor
could be make or break.
Also music. I've decided if you ain't got good music. Yeah. And I think it was John Williams. You guys know who John Williams is? Of course you do. John Williams, of course you do. Every single movie that Steven Spielberg has ever done, Star Wars, John Williams has done every of one of those scores. Indiana Jones, all of that, all the good ones. Like all that music, creating that music for film. It's just try to watch a movie without music.
Yeah, no.
Interesting. Different feeling.
I feel like people take it for granted, but it does make a big difference. It messes with your emotions. And you know where it really is important? I know you don't watch this kind of stuff, but it really is important. Horror movies. Because that music sets the suspense big time.
Yeah, I don't watch horror movies.
I know. I just watched The Deliverance on Netflix because it's like number one. And a lot of people talk about it.
I want to see that.
Oh, yeah.
What's The Deliverance?
It's like the black version of The Exorcist.
Based on a true story.
Supposedly, yeah.
Yeah.
But Glenn Close was in it, and she did her thing. At her age, I believed she was who she was. I was like, wow.
So Cynthia hasn't seen it yet, though.
No. Yeah, that's why I'm not saying a whole
You didn't say nothing. Okay, yeah. No. I don't know, because last time you spilled all the beans.
It's been out so long. I'm like, listen, if you didn't watch it by now, come on.
I'm not a horror film person, so it's a tough one for me, but I know. I can't, going back to Chicago Fire. They show some leg cutting open and I'm like, I'm a wuss. I have no
That's why I don't do the Saw movies. I don't do none of that.
What
no.
is Saw? Are these all horror
You
movies?
not like Saw?
With the guy with the mask and the tricycle. No, we don't do that.
I don't even know
Jigsaw?
what that is.
No, you have to like cut your
Has
arm
Cynthia
off to escape
watched
or
it?
something like that.
Has Cynthia watched the Saw?
Looks like she
Oh, yeah.
has.
I don't.
That's why I said you would not like it, Carmen, at all.
Look, I will tell you to me, and I know you guys are going to be like, oh, please. The only horror film I've ever sat through, and it was only because it was nominated for an Oscar, was Silence of the Lambs. And I know that is not horror to you guys, but it was psychologically painful. It won, actually, right? It was Jodie Foster won, and
What about the
That's a good movie.
Oh, The Silence of the Lambs, but that's not horror, right? It's psychological thriller, right?
kind of horror? What about The Shining? Didn't you see The Shining?
Well, I studied The Shining.
For school?
That's different. Yeah.
I
mean, I wasn't around. I mean, when that came out in like 1970 or something, right?
That's a pretty famous one, though.
Because I studied Stanley Kubrick, but I saw that in school and I had no choice. If it like I saw Clockwork Orange, but that's because I studied Stanley Kubrick.
That movie.
Yeah, that's weird.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. But those are psychologically crazy. Okay, wait. So Silence of the Lambs, let me just tell you, I had to wait until it was nominated. And then I think it was Mia, I forget who it was, told me every single thing that was happening that was going to happen in the movie. And then we went to the movie, and before anything was going to happen, she told me. So I already knew. So I like watched it, and it was like, oh, okay.
Oh, okay. So it didn't bother you as much because you already.
No, it bothered me, but because it's creepy, but it didn't bother me in the way I would have left right at the, that was crazy.
Yeah, Saw, she would not be able to handle. Saw is a very gruesome movie, but the point of the movie is this man created this whole, I don't even know what to call it, but this whole game where he kidnaps these people who have taken life for granted and is trying to teach them a lesson about life. But it's very gruesome because if they don't learn the whole situation, their head gets cut off or they blow up or something very gruesome happens to them.
But don't they have to also self-mutilate sometimes? That's the part. I'm like,
sometimes, yeah.
If somebody else hit you or stab you, that's one thing. But myself, doing it to me, myself? No.
But I don't even understand like the point. I don't know. It's just weird. I don't know. I don't know why you guys like it. That's what I find weird.
That I don't like.
The depravity of who you both are is like beyond my understanding. No, I don't. You know what? I remember when I was growing up, the big movie was Friday the 13th.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to see that. I'm not going to see it. And I didn't. I've never seen it. And I know now that's like the joke of a movie to watch because it's so cheesy. But I'm one of those people that I have nightmares if I see something bad or feel something bad. And so I choose not to consume that stuff. Yeah. And it's not because I don't think I'm overly sensitive. I just think it just is a deep, dark thing that I don't want to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, if you have nightmares, no.
Where you guys are just evil, so you can deal with it. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to share.
My mom, I never forget. Right when I was a kid, I don't know exactly how old it was, but it was pretty young. There was a vampire movie, and my mom was like, I was like, oh, look at this vampire. Oh, that's cool. Whatever. That's scary. You're gonna have nightmares. I was like, no, come on. I'm not a baby. That night, I had a nightmare that my dad was a vampire trying to kill me and my mother, and I never
was it Fright Night?
I love that one. No, I think it was more of a traditional one. I can't remember exactly, but no.
All right. Well, on that note, at 1 hour, 15 minutes.
All about the scares.
How did we get here? It was supposed to be a full-on business conversation.
It was, wasn't it?
It was. And we talked about Hollywood business, though, too. Charlie chimed in and everything. That was good.
Yeah, I thought he was going to come up in a minute, but.
Let me just say thank you for you two as well, because I haven't taken a moment to thank you both because you've been consistent and being on the show. I appreciate your support and as we go through this process. And I'm going to have an ending next week. I don't have it today, but Rick, make sure you go and watch.
I know. I can't wait to watch it.
Okay, Cynthia, was good, right?
It was good.
Okay. Anyway, you'll let me know, Rick, what you think. Anyways, everyone, thank you. Please check out allaboutthejoy.com if you want to buy some swag. We'd really appreciate it. Any money that we make, which is like $1 or $2 from mugs and hats and T-shirts, just goes right back into the show. paying for software, paying for all the little things that we're doing to try to get the show going. So we'd appreciate that. So we'll see you all next week. And thank you. And remember, it really is all about the joy. Bye, everyone.
Good night.
Thanks for stopping by All About the Joy. Be better and stay beautiful, folks. Have a sweet day.